Uh,
Hey, Sam, how you doing?
hey, Bob.
Hey, so I wanted to ask you about a couple of your coaches. I think you said some stuff about these guys, but Brad Davis, I know he's a guy you have a long history with. Why was he a good guy for the staff, and what do you think he brings to the table?
Well, hey, I trust him. I know he's a great person. Um, he's as good offensive line coach as there is in the country. Um, and if you go by jobs he's been offered, he's as good an O-line coach as anybody in the country. Because he's been offered a bunch. He's been offered some since he's been here. But um, most of the time, good O-line coaches are good coaches. Most of the time, they're good recruiters. They're good communicators. And a guy that's a good recruiter usually becomes a pretty good football coach if he's got better talent than everybody else. And so that's the one thing about Brad. He's one of the guys that means a lot to. That he's a people pleaser. You know, he wants to please whoever he's working with, and he wants these kids to be as good as they possibly can be. And you know, it's kind of thing inside. It's kind of in the makeup of who he is. And I really think I do. I think he's the coach as there is.
And then Jimmy Smith, how long have you known him? I know he was a Georgia high school coach for a long time. How long have you known him, and what was he at it?
Jimmy, I've known for 5 years. Jimmy is exactly what we needed at running back coach. No nonsense guy, but a guy that can relate to his players. Exceptional recruiter, and I needed a guy to recruit Georgia. And Jimmy was the first guy that came to mind when I was in the hiring process. I needed a running back coach, and I also needed a great recruiter. And I've been as pleased as you possibly can be with the way he's handled his room. They respect him. He knows what he's talking about. He was the athletic director at his school as well. So he understands how to handle people. And this is an exceptional football coach, and his future's bright, bright, bright. But I've known him for 5 years, and we wanted to hire him when I was at Georgia, just wasn't able to because we didn't have a full-time job there. But he did. He interviewed there, and he was outstanding in that interview. And like I say, I've known him, known his character, known what he's about for 5 years, and I'm really, really glad that we were able to hire him here.
You mentioned Dorian Gerald. He was a guy, obviously, had a health scare at the start of last season. How's he? Is he physically cleared for everything? And how's he doing? And how big a piece could he be in the rebuilding process? You know, this coming season.
Yeah, Dorian is cleared. He is getting in much better shape. I've had one-on-one conversations with him about what we need him to do. He's a guy that could be a strong leader for us. The kids look up to him. He's getting his quickness back. He's getting stronger. I really like the kid. I think he's smart. Good guy to have in that D-line room. So, yeah, I think you're 100% right. I think he's a guy that could be a heck of a leader for us as well.
One more, if you don't mind. I know you're a people person, like you said. You know, the video of you walking around the hog pen, I saw that the other day. I guess you're looking for hot dogs or whatever. But, you know, being the way you are, how are you handling this whole social distancing thing and sort of having to be careful, you know?
Well, I'll be honest with you, it didn't run across my mind. you know. But to be honest, about the time that we started talking about the virus is whenever the public became educated with it as well. And, now I think, everybody wants to be friendly and all. They're still friendly, but they're not as close friendly. And so I think they're looking at me like, hey, this dude's touched a lot of guys. I'm not sure I want to touch him either, So now it's kind of gone to, I think everybody pretty much understands, let's keep a little bit of a distance. And of course, now with restaurants and different things, I don't go out as much as I did, simply because of that. Not because of the people, but because of the virus. Trying to be educated and be smart myself. And but I do miss that part of it because I enjoy being around people. I enjoy that they want to meet me and things of that nature. It's an honor. So I enjoy that part of it, as you well know. But trying to be smart about it as well.
Okay, I'm good. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Nikki.
Hey, Coach. I was wondering, for spring break, have you advised the players to just stay home even if they had maybe some travel plans? And then also, on the guys that you mentioned that were injured, I think it was Wagner, Clary, Hayden Henry, and Bumper Poole. Just could you refresh us on what those injuries are and what their timeline is for recovery?
Oh, man. What first part of that, Nikki?
It was spring break, and if you have told the guys to not go anywhere.
Yeah. What we said on spring break.
Muted.
That, we felt like we needed to get all our players out of the dormitories if we could, just simply because we didn't know if they were going to close it down or not. Ironically, when we asked them, we only had one kid that was going to stay there, and he's since left and went to Texas. But our advice really was that they need to go to the safest place they can go to. So if Arkansas is the safest place they can go, well, then stay here. And, there's highly populated cities that obviously have the virus more than we do here. And so we just advised them to be safe. And we didn't say go home. We said, be safe. And if home is as safe as here, then that's probably a good place to be. And on the other same Bumper, he had a back surgery, and he's progressing well. I think he'll be ready I know he'll be ready by the time the season started. Hayden Henry had a shoulder, and he's progressing well. Let's see. Who'd you say? Gatlin?
Unmuted.
It was Wagner and Clary, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Gatlin had a knee.
Muted.
He's had a shoulder, and he's progressing well too. He's done, modified weights, but all the running, all the conditioning, and we feel like he'll be ready by the fall. And then Ty Clary, he also had a shoulder. All those were laborers, I guess, and so he's progressing. He's getting walked through reps. Our situation with those guys you just asked about, Nikki, was we were going to have them in walkthroughs and things of that nature, non-contact things, condition them at different positions at different points in time of the practice when the coach thought that learning wasn't as valuable as the conditioning, and then whenever we felt like learning was more valuable than conditioning, they were going to be with the team. But they were going to be in every walkthrough that we had. we don't see anybody on our team that won't be ready at least by August 1st.
Thanks, Coach.
Hayden, do you have anything?
Hey, Coach, how are you? Yeah, you kind of touched on this a little bit, but just that young wide receiver core you got, you mentioned Burks a little bit, but Knox, and then I know you've been praising Mike Woods a lot. Just how are those guys developing, kind of getting used to you, and just what have you thought about the receivers so far?
Well, I think the first thing about that group is their coach is back, with Steph, so that probably made their transition a little bit easier for them. And then Kendall Browse is a very personable guy that knows how valuable this group is to us. And so they worked really hard. I like Davion Warren in that group too. He's done a nice job with Morris and Cortland Jackson. Those are probably right now the top 6 kids that we have at that position. I've already mentioned Knox, Burks, and Woods, but those are probably the top 6 guys we have at that position. And really don't have much coming in from this freshman class because Darian Turner's already here, and he's done a nice job. But it'll take a little bit for him probably to adjust. But those 6 guys have done a good job. They work hard. They got a lot of pride in that room, and they've got a lot of publicity. They got a lot to live up to. So, and they know it.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. Richard.
Hey, Coach. How have you guys adjusted to the dead period, knowing that you don't know when the dead period's over?
Woo! Well, all we know how to do is just go to work, so we have a plan of every day of what we're going to do, and we know a bunch of it, Richard, is recruiting. We know a bunch of it is staying in touch with our players. We have to make sure that they're working out. We have to make sure that they stay eligible and they're doing well in school. So we have a lot of work that we can do. The difference is we just can't see them face to face in person. And but really, we're trying to keep as much routine, daily things as what we would have a 7:30 meeting and say, this is what we have to get accomplished today. The difference is there's no ball right now. You can't talk video stuff with them right now. I think they're trying to look into it in the SEC to see if we can have some mobile meetings. Until that time, right now, it's more playbook, handouts. You can't really talk ball at all. So it goes back to, well, what can help your team the most? Making sure they stay eligible, make sure they stay in shape, and make sure you add newcomers to the team that's going to make a difference. So that's kind of what we're doing right now.
Coach, I didn't ask the question very well. I meant as far as recruiting. I didn't say recruiting. Sorry about that.
Say again, Richard. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. It's okay. I didn't ask the question very well. I meant to ask what kind of adjustments have you guys made during the dead period as far as recruiting?
Oh, well, we've amped it up. I mean, we have more time, so you can either sit around and not do anything, or you can recruit. And again, there's a lot of ways to get out of where we are right now. Number one way is to recruit. And so I felt like, Richard, that we were behind in 2022s. I thought we kind of caught up a little bit in 21s. So the last 2, maybe 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we made a big push for 2022 kids. And I would think y'all probably saw that. I don't know how many we offered, but quite a few in that class. And We went in on a note writing campaign. We went on a FaceTime campaign. So we were hitting at least 10 kids FaceTime at least a day that I was able to talk to. We were writing at least 10 kids a day as a full staff. So, and we will do it this morning, and we will do it every day until we get back here. So we're trying to amp up phone conversations. You know, they have to call us, but we're trying to amp that up. And we're trying to amp up our note writing campaign.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
All right, more questions for Coach Pittman.
Hey, this is Bob. I'm actually asking this on Tom's behalf, so I hope I don't screw it up. He's a lot smarter than I am, we all know. Sam, I was wanting to know about, I guess, the impact of your grad transfers, how important those guys are, and I guess specifically on Xavier Kelly, Felipe, and Levi.
Well, they're all on course. You know, Felipe obviously is here. Jerry's he's here. Jerry Jacobs is here. Xavier, he's on course to graduate. Levi Draper's on course to graduate. AJ Reed's on course to graduate. We felt like we got some really good kids in that group, really good players, really good people. So they're in our conversations as well, and we just need to make sure they get here, and we don't have any doubt that all 5 of those guys will be a part of our program in the fall.
Anything else for Coach Pittman?
Hey, Coach Dudley Dawson. Just wanted to talk a little bit about the movement of Blaine Toll to tight end. Just talk about that and you know, how that step there and maybe how he went along with it.
Well, first of all, he'll do anything for the team. He's such a great kid. Second of all, we feel like we needed another tight end. Well, then when he was running in the off season, the guy could fly. And now, it doesn't hurt to have somebody who can fly off the defensive end edge too. We know that. But the bottom line, we basically said that if we get Xavier Kelly, that we were going to move Blaine over to tight end and see if he couldn't help us. If we didn't, we were going to leave Blaine there and maybe move a kid like Cade Pearson or somebody like that to tight end, who's a hard-working kid, got a good body on him, got a good size. So when we got Kelly the next day, we talked to Blaine. He was very positive about the move, and he's done a really good job over there in the walkthroughs. And we just felt like we needed to move him if we were going to move him so he didn't get behind the installs and things of that nature. So we moved him over there, and he's a talented guy. Like I say, big. He looks like a tight end, and he can run. So we feel like we're really fortunate to have him there and on our team and at that position of tight end.
Also, you talked about the wide receivers. Obviously, that's a pretty deep room. Talk about the decision to retain Coach Stepp and you know, what went into that.
Well, you know, in all honesty, we were going to give everybody an opportunity to stay. We were going to talk to them. Not an opportunity. That's I didn't say that right. We were going to visit with everybody, and Stepp volunteered to go on the road with me, which meant something to me. And then I saw how coaches looked at him, how the recruits that he was recruiting looked at him. There was a couple of coaches held me back after we were getting ready to leave, wanted to talk to me personally about it. I don't think he arranged that. I think they just felt very adamant that he's a good man and a good football coach. Obviously, I'd seen what he had recruited in the room before I got here, and he had strong ties in East Texas, which I think we need that. And so I was able to offer him the job that he had back to him, and he was very thankful, very grateful. He's a good person. I mean, he's a really good person, good family. And again, he fit right in that good man, good communicator role that I had kind of set for who I wanted to hire, for different people I wanted to hire. So we hired him. And I had several guys that I could have hired as a wide receiver coach. I'm sure they'd done a nice job. I just felt like because he was so good in the 3-4 days that I was with him before I offered him the job, that I felt like we ought to keep him and keep some continuity from the previous staff.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Last call for questions for Coach Pittman.
Hey, Sam, this is Bob again. Are you going for spring break? Or are you and Jamie going to hang out here and relax? What are your spring break plans?
Well, I don't. It's supposed to be 75, 76, 76, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we are going to go to the Bahamas at my address in Fayetteville, Arkansas. I think I'm going to heat the pool up, to be honest with you. There might be a whale sighting out there. It's just me. Nobody shoot, it's just me. But I'm going to have a good time. We're not leaving town.